We'll be kicking off any second with an interview with Paul Bates from Ops Ramp. Hopefully, you'll find it interesting. Good afternoon. I'm Lee Cassidy from Tactile Technology. We're actually going to start doing some series of streamed videos, and part of that we're going to do an interview, or we're going to do a proper presentation on a particular technology regularly. And every week on a Wednesday, we're going to talk about OpsRamp. And the key to that really is the guy who's driving things in the UK, which is Paul Bates. So, Paul, nice to see you today. Can you tell us a little bit
Hello.
about your background so people get a bit of a feel for who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, depends how far back you'd like to go. So, originally my background was technical. I studied at UMIS in '97. Got a degree in computer science. Or computation, as it was called at UMIS. Then, in early part of my career, I was an engineer and a pre-sales consultant at a company called P&P, which no longer exists. I then decided that I wanted to work more in the commercial world, so I joined an ISP called Planet Online that became Energous, that now eventually morphed up into Vodafone. I then joined a small boutique systems integrator called Positive. Following there, I joined another small SI called B2Net, who became Proact. And I've spent probably just over a decade building my career at Proact before I moved to OpsRamp.
What type of services were you delivering at Proact then, to the community?
My role at Proact, the role I left was I was vice president of managed services there. So we do a phenomenal portfolio of services there. We did on-premise services, so on-premise management, on-premise outsourcing as such, hosted services, and in the more recent history, moving more and more into the public cloud.
Yeah, so public cloud's becoming a real big thing these days, and what I've noticed is some people have gone whole hog into public cloud and then realised it wasn't quite as cheap as they thought it was, and spent maybe 1.5 times their budget in the first year, and it looked like the second year was coming up to be double the budget. Have you seen similar things and people starting to move to hybrid type environments?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've known customers go into public cloud and then come out. And I think in the more recent past, the work I've done was advising, rather than looking at cloud, looking at workloads. So identifying what is the right platform for each workload. And it needs to be more than just the cost of the platform, because there's so many other requirements that need to be wrapped around that. So tool sets, backup, security, and so on. But yeah, if you don't manage things properly, it could end up being pretty expensive. And I think that complexity now is exploding. That you see, it's no longer servers and VMs, it's containers, it's serverless. It's SaaS. Do we even manage a platform ourselves, or do we move the application to SaaS? So, what the impact that's having to customers now is several challenges. Not only do they have to manage all these different platforms, they need to manage and support the tools that support those platforms, and they need the skills to support all of those platforms as well, because you don't just have to manage the technology, you've got to manage the relationship and the interdependency of the technology as well. So those staff are becoming more finite, more. You need to find them, retain them, train them. So it is becoming a complex and costly exercise, really venturing into this new world of multi and hybrid cloud.
Yeah, and so what I've seen with our customers is they've got this issue with retaining highly skilled, highly experienced staff that can look after everything, and they tend to get generalists that stay with them. And what they'll do is they'll recruit consultants that come in and work there for maybe 6 to 12 months, but then when they leave, they take away that experience and skill with them, and they've not really, cross transferred any of that that information and skill and experience to them. So they seem to be back in the same situation at the end. So it is a challenging thing for them. What about this move towards containers and DevOps? Do you think that's giving people bigger challenges as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's giving people different challenges as well. I mean, the first one is, I mean, for IT guys, it's a new set of skills to learn. That's one challenge. The other challenge that you've got is, I mean, the tools to manage it. It's a different set of tools. If you look at the DevOps world, the tools that you use are predominantly a different set than that you would have done in what I'd term as a traditional IT environment of servers or VMs. The other thing you've got, I mean, I think when you're looking at DevOps and you're looking at functions, you're looking at containers. You've also got different consumers. People consume that service in a slightly different way. And this is, I mean, if you look at shadow IT, you could have different teams of people operating these platforms, either with the support of IT or completely autonomously from IT. And that in itself then starts to introduce different challenges. I've worked with DevOps teams who are delivering system development and the platform support for the applications they create for some large enterprises. And then managing that platform entirely themselves, but they don't really have the 24/7 capability to support a global business, and in this case, which they were. So it is causing different challenges. I mean, numerous challenges that we could probably spend half an hour just talking about the challenges today.
I think some of the other areas, though, as well, is actually being able to see it from a business perspective, because I see a lot of organisations are going down the digitisation of their infrastructure. So it means that all their business processes now are going through some kind of technology, so a web interface or some kind of technology process. And if that becomes the case, how do you monitor it? How do you ensure that you're delivering the right level of service to your customers, and especially when services are impacted, like the beginning of this coronavirus situation, where a lot of people trying to go to particular websites, online retailers, people selling DIY products because they wanted to do a bit of DIY at home, and they were impacted dramatically by the increase in transactions as well.
I mean that could highlight a number of issues. I mean, one of the reasons I joined OpsRamp is, I mean, we're a SaaS platform. So the great thing about our platform is that if the customer's scaling their environment, they don't need to scale the underlying infrastructure for monitoring. I mean, that's our problem to deliver. The second thing that we do is, I mean, clearly we do discovery and we do monitoring. That's the foundation of our platform. But we do an awful lot more than that. But we don't just give that what I would call traditional monitoring view, that technical view. We can give our customers and their customers a more of a business context view of what's going on. So we can give line of business owners visibility of their applications to understand what is the health of those applications. So it's not just looking at a technology view in its own right. I think business context for when you've got challenges like the current coronavirus that we're facing now, having not only technical context and business context is becoming more and more critical.
So coming on to some of the differences, the way people do things. Years ago, people were driving into ITIL. ITSM has been a major driver, some real big players in that space. But ITOM's quite a new thing. So what really do you see the difference between what ITOM delivers to an organisation and what ITSM delivers?
No, good question. But I mean, if I look at the market for ITSM, I mean, that market has transformed ridiculously over the last 5 years. I mean, we've gone from a number of very large legacy players in the ITSM space to now pretty much ServiceNow dominating that market. And what we're trying to do at OpsRamp is we're not a single point solution play. We don't just do monitoring. We don't just do event and incident management and correlation or automatic remediation. We're trying to do the whole ITOM piece and have a platform play. So we're delivering value using a single tool set right the way across the ITOM, the customer's ITOM needs. So in essence, you could say we're looking to be the service now of the ITOM space. So like I said, that's discovery, that's monitoring, that's event and incident management, and that's automatic, well, it's remediation and automation of those incidents as well.
So coming back to that, AI seems to be a big driver for people these days, and machine learning. They're trying to introduce that into their
Yeah.
infrastructure, and there's a new acronym, AI Ops, that seems to have appeared. So, where does AI and machine learning fit into what OpsRamp are delivering?
Yeah, I mean several areas. I mean, the first one's actually quite a boring one, to be honestly. The first one's, I mean, simplifying the deployment. So our platform's aware enough that when we're deploying agents, or when we're deploying the assets, we can discover very, very quickly. So the first thing we can do is discover the interdependencies of all the platforms, be that switches, servers, VMs, or within the public cloud. So we understand what is upstream and what is downstream of everything. So that, as you can probably appreciate, that really, really helps us with the monitoring. So we can start to, if we know the impact, if we know what's upstream and downstream, we then start to learn the impact. The second thing, the second thing in the discovery element is I'll give you an example. If we've got a customer running a VM in AWS, running SQL and running Windows, the platform will understand all of those things and make sure that we've applied the right templates. We're monitoring and taking metrics from all of the right parts of that service as such. So we're taking SQL metrics, we're taking Windows metrics. We understand that it's on AWS. We're taking all the right metrics. So the second thing that we're then doing is looking at the correlation. So we'll take all of the metrics, but the great thing about OpsRamp, one of the things that was really important for me joining, is we don't just look at our own metrics. We'll take metrics from third parties. So that could be for multiple reasons. We don't do application performance management. We monitor applications, but we don't do the APM element. So we'll take feeds from products like a Dynatrace or Instana. We may have customers that have tools that do overlap with what we do, things like Zabbix, and they're not ready to phase those systems out. It may take them a period of time to phase those older systems out. We'll take feeds from those platforms and correlate them with our own. So what that means, and looping back around to the AI, is we'll understand the root cause analysis of an alert. So an example could be a switch or a couple of switches go down in an environment that could set alarms off with VMware, the storage, the physical servers, all the guests. That could mean 50, 60, 100 alarms that continuously repeat. With our platform, you'll get one alert to say, this is the root cause of the problem. So really what the AI is doing there is helping people identify where the problem has come from. The second thing the platform will do is then understand who fixes. So if it is a network issue, it'll understand who fixes the network issue, and it'll automatically begin to escalate that issue to the right person. And that could be through ITSM integration, phone call, email, SMS. So it's notifying the right person. That notification can change at different times of the day. So the platform itself, and this isn't taught behavior from a human being, this is learned behavior from the platform, so more machine learning than the wider AI. So really what the platform then does, and this is where the AI is really important, we've found the root cause of the problem very quickly, we've escalated the issue to the right person, potentially we could also automatically fix the problem. So really, we're just driving down the time spent fixing that issue. So you find the problem immediately, you fix the problem faster. It means you meet your SLAs, and you're spending more time actually adding value to the business than firefighting.
So that sounds, the big driver behind AI ops really is predict and prevent failure, isn't it? So work out that there's an issue, come in, do something about it, and quickly resolve it before it impacts service. And commonly we'll have some high availability capabilities within our infrastructure, so we can be fixing a problem that's to come up without it impacting the business. It might just reduce the amount of capacity we've got for a short period of time as well. So I think that is a quite key thing.
Yeah. But on the business as well, it's also not just about fixing the problem, it's also about giving those business owners business context as well. And that's a really important thing, that you're not just looking at the technology impact, you're looking at the business impact of that of that failure and giving that transparent view to those
Yeah,
business
I think
owners.
one of the other thing is over the years I've noticed a lot of organisations using the TCO as a key thing for working out whether their solution is the right one for the organisation. So the total cost of ownership, and you're working this out over 3 to 5 years, sometimes even longer, just to try and prove that a technology is of value to them. What I see really is we should be selling on value. So it's the value you bring, but it's not only that value, it's the time to that value. With
Yeah.
OpsRamp, are we
Yeah.
looking at long-term time to value, or is it short-term?
No, it's incredibly short term. We don't have a 6 month deployment. We're usually up and running in days or even a few weeks, depending on the size of the environment. And really, the AI, like I said, it's not something you have to spend months coding. And I mean, you're sort of creating decision trees. The platform learns itself, and within a month, the platform has got a pretty good view about how to actually start managing the incidents based on learned behavior. So typically, I mean, a few weeks would be the deployment time.
Well, one of the other things is I know that HPE use the technology to deliver Green Lake. And I also know that they went to become a shareholder in OpsRamp after their work with it. So can you tell us a little bit about the value they've seen as an organisation?
Yeah, I do mean I clearly can't talk about another customer's direct experience of it, but I mean as a platform themselves, yeah, they I mean that what you're saying is absolutely correct. They use the platform for GreenLake, and that's in the public domain. And quite recently, them along with Morgan Stanley have recently invested in our business. So for me, that's a huge stamp of approval. Somebody who's used the technology has then gone on to actually say, well, we'd love to invest in your business.
Yeah, and so it sounds like the Remington guy, isn't it? With I like the rays are so good, so much I bought the company, doesn't it, on the back of it? But that's
Absolutely.
great. We're actually coming up to 20 minutes now, and we were trying to keep this down to 15 to 20 minutes. So, and any key things that you want to give away at the end of here about OpsRamp, the benefits of it, and what you've seen in the your first 6 months with OpsRamp?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the reason I joined is I saw the explosion in complexity of IT, and really what OpsRamp are doing. It's almost sounds like I'm trying to talk about COVID, but what we're really looking to do is flatten that curve in the increase of cost of delivering IT. So as customers are consuming more, or a service provider is adding more and more service contracts. What my goal is to simplify that operations management by flattening that curve of increasing the operational cost of IT. And I mean, for me, it's hard to cover what we do in 5 to 10 minutes. I mean, the best thing to do would be, I mean, talk to yourself, talk to us, and let us actually show you in more detail how Optron can help.
That's great. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Paul. That's been really enlightening.
No, thank you, Lee.
Learning a little
Cheers.
bit about you, a little bit about OpsRamp, and also, discussing what's changing in IT at the moment, as well as what's happening in the world of COVID-19. So, thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks, Lee.
Bye.
Appreciate it.